Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Stace and I'm upstairs for my little reading corner at the moment, and today's video is my May wrap up with myself and a very sleepy Poppy behind me. Well, I'm really in my fantasy era again. I went through not a while but a period of where I didn't want to read any fantasy. I wasn't in the fantasy mood, but now I've come back with a vengeance, and that's all what I seem to want to read. The month of May, I think, not a slow read, but I've been taking my time reading, because I've been really enjoying what I read. Even though I want to devour the book within a few days, I've kind of slowed my pace down, which is absolutely fine. I read 2 books in May, both fantasy. I am kind of 111 pages through Soul Music by Terry Pratchett, another fantasy series. Now, if I get to finish this before the May is out, because I'm filming this just before the end of May, so if I finish it in the next few 2-3 days, I'll add my review on the end of this video. But if it's not there, that means I didn't get to finish it. So the 2 books that I did finish in May was, the first one, you may have seen my vlog and my Fantasy Friday about this book, because I completely fallen in love with it. I thought it was too hyped, but I thought, I've seen it everywhere, let's give it a go, see what all the fuss is about. And I was completely wrong. It's not hyped up at all. It is absolutely amazing. I gave it 5 stars, and it's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. What can I say? It has dragons in it. It's got deadly trials in it, and it has enemies to lovers romance, which some books I find a bit cringe, or I've never really read anything like that before, but I really enjoyed this, enemies to lovers. So we follow Violet Sorrengail, who is thrusted into War College to become a dragon rider, because her mum works there, her older sister was a dragon rider, and her older brother, who we think is dead, but there is a twist. I'll probably just given something away if you haven't, but I'll say no more about that. To become a dragon rider. So after some deadly trials, I suppose, to see if you're strong enough to become a dragon rider, especially during the war, in a war, dragons are then, they go out into the forest clearing, and dragons pick their riders. The riders do not pick their dragons, dragons pick them. A lot of people get the dragons that are best matched to them, and some people don't. In Violet's case, she doesn't end up with 1 dragon. No. She ends up with 2. She ends up with Tarn. Now, if I do pronounce these names wrong, I'm really sorry. But like most fantasy stories I read, I think we all pronounce them different. But she ends up with Tarn, who is the largest dragon out there. And then she also the smallest golden dragon in Andana. Andana? I don't know if I'm saying that one right either. So she ends up with 2 dragons. She has to train herself to ride this really big dragon, because herself, she's very short. She's actually the same height as me, about 5'2", and she's a very skinny girl as well. So she has to train herself when she gets her dragon to actually stay on the back of this huge dragon. Who she thought was out to kill her and didn't like her or anything actually turned out to be the enemies to lovers romance in Xaden. Now, I'm not the sort of girl who has a book boyfriend, but Xaden, you know, if I was Violet, yeah, I think I would go there. Because the way he's described, he's very handsome, and he actually ends up looking out for Violet. So yeah, so if you love dragons, enemies to lovers, something that is kind of similar to, I suppose, to Game of Thrones, because I have been searching for a book for a very long time that's like the Game of Thrones. This one is for you, and I will be continuing this series with Iron Flame and Onyx Storm, and I think the last few weeks, as I was coming to the end of this book, there are 2 more in the series, so it's going to be a 5-book series. Don't know what they're called, the titles of the last 2 are yet, because they're not due out until 2026, I think. But yeah, highly recommended fantasy series. I'm now sucked in, so I will be going to purchase Iron Flame very soon to read. The next book that I read in May is a book I was looking for because I wanted to read about fairies, and I wanted something different from the Encyclopedia Fairies, which I didn't like, but I'm willing to give a second chance to, whether it's because I just wasn't in the mood at the time. But this book is The Thorns Remain by J.J.A. Harwood. The cover is absolutely beautiful, and for a fantasy story about fairies is everything I wanted. It is set in 1919 in the post-World War I in a village in the Highlands, and it feels like it's in between history and folklore, so I suppose it's a bit of historical fantasy here. And when you're reading it, it feels like there are eyes watching you, and she describes the forest that Moira Jean goes into. It feels like she's being watched and you're being watched. And our main character, Moira Jean, she's grieving after losing her fiance in the war. I think he survived the war, got a medal, but then the flu hit him and he died from that as he was on his way home. So she's dealing with grief at the moment, and she's out one night with her friends in the forest and they're dancing. Then suddenly they disappear and she remembers this man with horns. She wakes up the next day and she thought she had too much to drink, but as she goes around the village, people are not bothered that her friends have disappeared. They're acting like everything's normal. So she needs to try and get her friends back before the beginning of May, basically. End of May, beginning of May. That is where she meets the Dreamer, who is a fae who lives in the land under the hill. He's got her friends, and she has to basically make a deal with him to get her friends back one by one. So the desire to get her friends returns comes at a price. And the fae, the Dreamer, actually kind of falls in love with Moira Jean, but she's not having it. She doesn't want to go to live under the land under the hill, because these fays are not actually glittery and friendly as like Tinkerbell. But Moira Jean, she's facing grief and pain, and things are getting twisted in life by the fae, so by the Dreamer. But yeah, it's a really brilliant read. I did do a very recent vlog at the weekend where I gave up social media to read this, and I actually finished it within 2 days. So I'll link that one below as well. But yeah, this was a 5 out of 5 star read. So if you love fae, different kinds of fae, because there are brownies mentioned in this, and the one I always forget, which is one I didn't realise, a Kusith, if I'm saying it right, is a fairy dog. Is often described as having a dark green coat. So I didn't realise there were fae dogs as well, but I did. Because in the back it tells you, it's got a bit of a glossary for different fays and their names and what they do, which I also found interesting because I love anything like that. And I've just shown you my notes that I read off the back of my books. But yeah, two 5-star reads, for the month of May. And to be honest, I can't decide which one is my overall favourite, so they both are this month, because one had dragons, one has fairies. I love fairies and dragons. So yeah, if I get to finish Soul Music, I will put that clip straight after this. But if not, join me again for another video very soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you love fantasy and historical fiction, because that is what I'm reading mostly at the moment. So yeah, just hit that subscribe button, support my channel. And kind of got a bit of a thing going on where I would like 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, but I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, share with your friends, comment, like. Have you read Fourth Wing? What did you think of it? Are you in with the hype with Love It As Much As Me and everybody else? Are you continuing the series? Have you read The Thorns Remain? Or what other fairy books do you recommend? Because I'm really going through my fae era as well. Let me know in the comments below. And hi, it's me a couple of days later, and I'm pleased to say I didn't finish just 2 books that I just mentioned, but in May, but 3. I did manage to finish Terry Pratchett's Soul Music in May. It's a wild ride through the world of rock and roll. All music with rocks in, as they call it in the Discworld. It's a magical guitar comes to life and plays things, and everything gets loud and chaotic. And in true Terry Pratchett style, there's puns and lovable characters, and it follows mainly Susan, Death's granddaughter, who is pulled into the family business just as the music takes over. I did only give it 4 stars. I took a star off because the pacing was a bit frenzied for my liking. So I only give this 4 stars. It's not my most favourite Discworld novel, but it has heart and it has humour, and I'm slowly working through the Discworld journey, and I'm absolutely loving my Discworld journey. I've still got a fair few books to go, but you know, I'm still loving it. So this book, 4 stars for me, and I'll see you again next month for another wrap up, and I'll see you again for another video soon as well. Bye.